Hello, my name is M. Jason Graham, and this is Writing. This is Writing is brought to you by the Upiri Experience 2018. Go to www.upiri.tv and reserve your spot for the Upiri Escape Room Experience. This year, let's start a new Halloween tradition. Okay, so now we are finally to our credible life plan. And I am actually going to do this video in two parts because it's a lot of information, and I want to make sure that you get it, and I don't want it to kind of drone on. So there's about 9 parts to the credible life plan. We're going to go over 3 today. The major one being the ambition key. But if you want a quick overview of all of the parts of the credible life plan, go to this week's in under 5 minutes and you'll get that overview. So to start with, we start where we always start. And this credible life plan is to make sure that your character's action, the action in your story, fits with the character. So you're measuring which story unit the action needs to fit into. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't, but it's good to have a good comparison of it. It doesn't hurt anything, and particularly if you're writing like 4 books, or you're writing a television series, or you're writing a series of films. This is especially important because each successive film has to be larger in scope and more dire circumstances than the last. So, the first thing that we're going to start with is guiding principles. Now, we always, at the beginning of all of our worksheets, we start with the guiding principles because we want to make sure that we know what those are and that everything fits. Remember, the guiding principle is the compass in the world of your story. So, for our identity story, the theme, of course, is identity. The purpose is to encourage the responsibility of self-definition. The expectation is the affirmation of the individual strengthens the community. And then our log line, struggling actor is tricked into the role of ASL tutor, which is American Sign Language tutor. So we've got our guiding principles. You can copy and paste those from, this is part 1. And so we copy and paste our guiding principles from our guiding principles worksheet. Next is communities and responsibilities, because we need to have a sense of who else is in the story, 1, and 2, as you'll see later, the resources that those communities offer our protagonist and antagonist. So we want to keep the communities and the responsibilities to those communities listed, and we get that and copy and paste it from our pivotal character worksheet. So now we come to the meat of the credible life plan, and it is the ambition key itself. So what this is, the ambition key is a breakdown from the life goal. Remember what's listed in the character's psyche, the character's life goal, all the way down to the action in the story that you're writing. So the present action in the story, wherever it starts, you're going to break it down from the character's life goal all the way down to it. So we're actually going to go over this. I'm going to erase this because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to show you what's actually on the worksheet. Do this. So, of course, the first thing we start with is the life ambition. This over here. So the life ambition. And so his life ambition is to become an internationally respected star. So for that life ambition, we're going to put that. So I'm going to put respected INT apostrophe L, and then we're going to put a little star here because it's fun. But respected international star because we need to save space. So in order to do that, then remember our rule of 4? This is ambition that should take his life to achieve. So 60, 70, roughly. In order to do that, we're going to need some adventures. Point effect, 4 adventures. So, that's too far over. So, adventure 1, and then you'll see adventure 2, adventure 3, adventure 4. So there should be 4 things that need to be acquired before your protagonist and antagonist, by the way, because you're doing this for both of them, before they can achieve this ambition right here, their life ambition. There's 4 of them. We're only going to work on 1 because I don't want to talk too much about epic storytelling today. So campaigns, but 4 adventures make up a campaign. So particularly our gamers understand that terminology. 1 adventure after another, after another, after another, until you receive a grand goal, which may or may not be a life adventure. It may be an epic that you're looking for. But again, you're not going to talk too much about epic storytelling. But 4 adventures. So for this first one, the one that he's doing in this movie, the thing that he needs to do is star in an international film. Right? That makes sense. So, star in international film. There would be other ones that, of course, that he needs to do, and there's no real time frame on that, and it could take him a while. For instance, you have to understand that this is about what his plan is, not what actually happens. So, if I was writing a morality tale, he could fail at this in this adventure. And so try again at a later time if he survives. Generally in morality tales, people don't survive the lesson because they don't learn the lesson, so they don't survive it. So, but you have 3 other ones here that he would also have to get. For the purposes of space on the board, I'm going to erase the other ones that we're not using. And so what comes down here next is current adventure. And with that, this would transfer down here. So if you know what the other three adventures were, you'd list them. But then you have to come back to what this current story is about. And what this current story is about is star in international film. So now, we break it down even further. What's next after your current adventure? I'm sorry, I messed that up. So what's the next story unit after adventure? It is rivalry. So you have a rivalry, and rivalry 1, 2, 3, and 4. And why do we have 4 rivalries in one adventure? Because your character, your protagonist, should be facing an antagonist and 3 antagonist foils in an adventure length story. But we'll deal with the first rivalry. And remember that this is about what needs to be acquired, not who they're facing. So for this one, in this rivalry, the goal is to get the support of the royal family. So get support, or I'll put get royals support. Get royals support. And so now we come down here, and it's going to read current rivalry get royals support. Okay. So now what do we have? What's the next story unit? The next story unit is scheme. Scheme 1, 2, 3, 4. Same idea holds. So what are we doing for our scheme? Well, in order to do that, in order to get the royals' support, he needs to succeed as a tutor. So actually prove that he can do the job that he's been hired for. That's the scheme. We're at current scheme. Succeed as tutor. And what is the next one after the next story unit is episode. Episode 1. In order to succeed as a tutor, he needs what? He needs to land the audition because he's acting like he's a tutor. So he needs to land the audition. So land audition, or actually it'll be an interview. So land the audition or land the interview. Current episode. Land interview. And then what does that break? What do episodes break down into? They break down into scenes. So 4 scenes. One of those scenes, he has to be able to convince Dawson or get Dawson to help. Get fun. Get Dawson to help. Now, a couple of things. This scene is a very specific scene that would take place in the first act of the adventure in capacity. Getting Dawson's help. This scene here and the other ones that are listed, 1, 2, 3, 4, in this episode, these are the key scenes that have to have emotional transitions in them. So this scene right here, you already list out what scenes that you need from the action in the script as to where the emotional transition should be. So let's take a look at the logic of our scene, of our map, our key, our guide, our life plan. First, we need, in order to be a respected international star, he needs to star in an international film. In order to star in an international film, he needs to get the support of the royals. In order to get the support of the royals, he needs to succeed as a tutor. In order to succeed as a tutor, he needs to land the audition or interview. If he doesn't have the job, he can't. If he doesn't have the job as a tutor, he can't succeed as a tutor. Then, in order to land the interview, he needs to get help from Dawson, and Dawson is going to help him fake his paperwork to say that he's an ASL instructor. This is what the breakdown of a credible life plan looks like. And you need to do it for your antagonist and your protagonist. Now, I know, first of all, it's a lot. And we get so excited about writing. We have these great ideas in our heads, and we see these wonderful images, and we just want to write them. But what I am trying to do with this process is save you the time of rewrites. And if you understand your characters and you understand the action and what the characters' needs are, their motivations, you not only free yourself as the writer to write, but then your motivations are stated so clearly that you free your actors to do what Spencer Tracy, one of my favorite Golden Age actors, says. You free your actors to be able to simply say their lines and not bump into the furniture. And they'll get it. Of course, actors are going to do more work than that. But you take the pressure off of the actors for them to feel the need to rewrite the scene. So, my name is M. Jason Graham, and this is Writing. This is Writing is brought to you by the Upiri Experience 2018. Go to www.upiri.tv and reserve your spot for the Upiri Escape Room Experience. Let's start a new Halloween tradition. I'll see you next time.